right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Paul, and welcome inside the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Yes, we have a lot of things to talk about tonight, and we'll start with Antonio Brown. You just heard, if you just tuned in, I just did the sports for the CW here, and we talked about Antonio Brown, and reports from CBS Sports are coming out that he wants $18 to $20 million per year for a new deal. That is, good luck with that. I don't see that happening. I don't know if he's worth $18 to $20 million a year. I saw some rankings that not statistically, but they have him ranked. You know, whatever they do, these formulas, these analysts and these analytics have him ranked as like the 26th wide receiver in the NFL. I think he's much better than that, but I don't think he's worth $18 to $20 million, especially what you see him doing off the field. So I don't know if he gets a deal like that. Now, the Steelers are in a tough predicament right now, and that's probably why they're not getting a deal worked out with Antonio Brown. You would have thought the Raiders would have been a done deal by now. They were rumored to be the top team when I was at the Combine with the Steelers, and then coming out now. But, you know, you would think that the Bills thing fell through because of probably this and because of Antonio Brown not wanting to show up. And, you know, this is all speculation right now, but I would imagine that is a big hurdle right now for a team that might want him. And look, if he wants a new deal worth $18 to $20 million, and the Steelers have, re-upped him a few times now and given him the signing bonus, and that's why his salary isn't that much this year because they've already given him all the money. That's why he's going to count $21 million against the cap this year if the Steelers release him, $22 million if they keep him. So I don't even know what the Steelers do. I know Paul Zeitz was on the show with me yesterday, disagreed with me, but I say you just keep him, retain his rights, and then what I would do is just try to hold off paying him that signing bonus. Don't give him the signing bonus, and just drag it through, drag it along. Just say we're holding it up. If you have to sue us, sue us. We're going to go to court. We'll figure things out. But you just keep it, drag it along, string it out as long as you can. If he's unhappy, pay him. If you can somehow figure it out. Now, you know, the one thing is I don't know if I really buy into it. Maybe a little bit, but I don't know. Kevin Colbert told us when I interviewed him at the Combine, told us, hey, you know, they doubt maybe. I don't know if I can buy it now. I think we're beyond that working out stage. Specifically with Ben Roethlisberger. This is the guy that's going to throw him the ball all the time. And from what the things he said about Ben Roethlisberger, I see him holding a grudge and maybe not targeting him, not throwing him the ball. So, yeah, there's definitely a huge issue. But I think that locker room's somewhat divided. I mean, he's working out with some teammates right now. Jalen Samuels is with him. Okorafor's down there, I think, working out with them in Miami. There's some players working out with them, so it doesn't seem like it affects them. I think maybe some of the players find it funny and amusing, but I think the veterans do not. The guys that want to win do not. Now everyone wants to win, but I think the guys like Ramon Foster, Marquise Pouncey, Ben Roethlisberger, guys like that do not find this amusing one bit. So I think the Steelers are going to get it done, but all these things coming out, you saw that picture with the Rosenhaus brothers at his house yesterday. We had that on the news. Then today the rumors about $18 to $20 million a year come out. So you add it all up, and that's why a deal's not getting done right now, because I don't think a team, now think about it this way, if you're a GM or an owner of a team, do you want to risk giving up a number 1 pick or a high number 2 pick and trading for this guy, and you don't even know if he's going to sign. You don't know if he's going to report. You know he wants a new deal. So there's all kind of things that are hurdles that you got to get past. And, you know, right now I just think his value is just going down. And if I'm the Steelers, I keep him. I say try to figure it out. You guys got to work it out. You got to make up. You got to be friends again. We'll figure this out. We'll get past this. And if you can't, well, then sit out, Antonio. Then you don't get paid at all. That's the way I would handle it. All right, other things we're going to be talking about tonight. The Pens, big loss. It's a huge loss. They could have really separated themselves from the Blue Jackets. Now the Hurricanes are kind of sneaking up to them. The last I checked, I haven't checked, but they were up 2-1. I'll have to look at the score here coming up soon. But, you know, if the Hurricanes win tonight, they get 2 more points. and then they're tied with the Penguins. The Penguins are right now in third place. But, things are getting interesting down the stretch, and now the Penguins have a quick turnaround, back-to-back games tomorrow night back here in Pittsburgh against the Bruins. The Bruins are also a pretty hot team, so, this is going to be fun to watch down the stretch. 13 games left for the Penguins. Big win by Pitt, snapping a 13-game losing streak, and, senior day, a freshman led the way. We'll show you those highlights coming up on KDKA-TV. Tonight at 11 o'clock, all those things are on the table, so give us a call. 412-575-2600 is the number. Back in a couple minutes.
The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, putting new roofs on Pittsburgh homes for over 25 years. Call Ireland Contracting at 1-800-NEW-ROOF.